Welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode
50.
50. It's season 3. It is season 3, episode 50. So it is our first episode. I'm sorry, it is not our first episode of 2025, but...
Well, it's, I guess, the first one for the both of us.
Yeah, the first episode of 2025 with just Sabrina and I. And it is the first one that we have filmed this year in 2025. So how's everything been? The last time that it was just you and I together, we actually talked a little bit about our Disney trip, but it wasn't Christmas yet. And then when we had Rini on the podcast, it still wasn't Christmas yet. So how's everything been? How were your holidays? How was your new year? Let's chat for just a second.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see that when we got back from Disney, that week we were prepping for our pictures with Santa.
Yeah.
So we had that event, and that was actually the day after you guys filmed that podcast.
Yes. So we did not talk about that either, actually.
Right. And, the turnout for that was really good.
It wasn't really good. It was incredible.
It was incredible. And, I mentioned this to you, but you also mentioned it separately.
Yeah.
And then we had, I think Joe mentioned it as well, but we all said the same thing, is that it almost seems like a bigger turnout than our grand opening.
I'm pretty positive it was. And so the thing about it was we did free pictures with Santa. We did brisket Frito pies. We did cookies. We were going to do hot chocolate, but it actually ended up being pretty hot that day.
It was hot.
It was way too hot for hot chocolate, so we didn't do that. And we actually had a popcorn maker out, and we threw Southern Hospitality over the popcorn, which, by the way, if you guys have never thrown Southern Hospitality on your popcorn, you absolutely need to. It was incredible. People were coming and they were like, dude, can I get another bag of that popcorn? What did you put on it? It was just out of this world. And, it was just so fulfilling to see. First and foremost, shout out to Santa Claus. He came out and he hung out with us for hours. You guys, you know exactly who you are if you, Santa. My kids are in the other room right now. So, Santa, thank you so much for coming. It means the world to Sabrina and I. And, man, I love you very much, and you mean so much to me. So, thank you for, supporting and being here for me. Just means so much. That's something that I just want to get out of the way. But the amount of people that came out and actually dressed up to take good pictures with Santa, it was amazing. So my cousin came out, and she actually owns a company called In a Snap CC, CC for Corpus Christi. And she has this really cool little photo booth where she can create a border. So she had like a Christmas border, and it said, Merry Christmas, Gulf Coast Smoke. And she was able to take pictures and print them out here on site, which was awesome. People were able to get their pictures right away. And, man, it just turned out really, really good. Like I said, the turnout was incredible. And having people lined up here, ready to take pictures and spend time here, was incredible. And also just a quick shout-out to Rochelle A. Stevenson, JJ Daly, Rini Gonzalez, Raul Gonzalez, Zach Smith, Travis Stevens, Joshua Criddle, Chance Vernon, soon-to-be Danielle Vernon, my sisters, my brother-in-laws, my friends that came out and supported, family, my dad for helping. We had HR and Spam come out. We had maybe Basin come out. And, man, it was dude, I couldn't even tell you how much it means that we have people around us that support us that much, and they're just willing to be here. Even if every single one of those people did something, but even if they didn't, just the fact that they show up and come and hang out with us means a lot to us. It really, really does. I mean, I don't think you guys understand, because the coolest thing about all of this is when you see these things happening at your shop that we built, and I don't mean like the literal shop, but, the company that we've built up, and you got people waiting, and you got people here supporting you, and you got people that are excited to see you and shop, man, it's like, it feels like we're doing something here. It really does. It really feels like, man, you really got something going on. And that's one of the coolest things about having, HR and Spam here is like, they even tell us multiple times, they're like, dude, you guys, like, y'all really got something going on. And I think sometimes we want so badly for this to be on another level that we tend to forget the level that it's at right now is actually really, really awesome. I actually had somebody at work today, and they told me that in the scripture, God actually says, do not forget about the small beginnings, because if you think about an oak tree, man, they're gigantic. When they're grown, they start as an acorn in the ground. Just like with what we're doing with GCS, man, we might be an acorn or we might be an oak tree that's growing and is not quite there yet, but man, we're getting there. And having events like this and just seeing people show up, it really does validate exactly what we're doing. And, I know that every single podcast I probably say or go off on a little thing where, I want to be super motivational and I'm motivated and you guys can do whatever you want. And I know that it probably gets a little bit old. Like, man, how many times can you say that, Alonzo? But at the same exact time, I'm going to keep doing it. And the reason I'm going to keep doing it is because I truly do feel like every single one of us can do exactly what we want. All it takes is putting one foot in front of the other and not giving up. And that's exactly what you and I have done. We continue to do and what we're going to continue to do forever, literally forever. Like, that's what we do. That's who we are. This is who we are now. It's just something that we've completely become addicted with. And I think that that's extremely, I think it's good for us. We still make, it's crazy because I do feel like we're addicted to this and we spend so much time doing it. But at the same time, I couldn't tell you how many times last week we had a movie night with popcorn and candy in the middle of the week even. And we don't let that stop us from being a happy family, blessed to be a healthy family, and, having fun with our kids. So I do think you can do both. It just takes time, and it's really damn hard. You know how hard it is? There's so many times where I'm like, man, I woke up at 5:15 today to go to work, went to work all day, came straight here after work, and it's 7:02, and I still haven't been home. I'm not asking anybody to give me a crown for it, but I do think that's what it takes. I think that's exactly what it takes for us to get where we want to get.
Yeah, I think kind of like with that event and just in general, to succeed, I think you really do have to put in the work, because if you want to still maintain those movie nights with your kids and just having time for yourself, you have to put in the extra work on, like, when you are working, you got to work, 150% more to try and get these things done so that you have that time for yourself or you have that time for your kids. Even like with that event, that was an all-nighter finishing, getting stuff ready, putting the balloon arch together, getting all the stuff ready for in the morning. Yeah. And we had just barely gotten back from Disney, so we were still trying to get into the swing of things at that point. And then Christmas comes around and we're trying to get ready for that, and that's, as most parents know, that's wild.
I think the night before the event I slept 2 hours and you did not sleep. Yeah. Right? So I tried to go to bed. You even told me, like, I was like, hey, what can I do for you? Anything I can do? And you're like, man, there's really nothing right now. Try and get some rest. I went and tried to sleep, and then, Alonso woke up. I remember that. Like, he woke up. He came to me in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, wanted to lay next to me. Then I couldn't sleep. I was up for hours, and he's tossing and turning, and then finally he gets up and goes and finds you.
Yeah, I was like, just send him out here. I'm already up.
And it's like, it was a tough night, but
it was worth it.
The outcome is extremely worth it. And man, again, if you guys are tired of hearing about it or me saying it, man, let me know in the comments. But dude, go for it. Go for whatever you guys want, man. Like, I really think that there's so much we're all capable of. I think 2025, 2024, 2023, 2020, 2019, things are different these days. Yeah. A traditional day job is wonderful. I think everybody that has one has a great career. That is incredible. But there's so many different ways to do things these days. And I think that, it's just about finding your niche and going after it. So that's hopefully my only motivational rant of the day. Right. But the event was amazing. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think it's instead of putting that extra work or that overtime into like your day job or your 9 to 5, you're putting in that overtime, staying up every once in a while to finish editing a video or finish prepping for an event or getting ready for a comp.
Yeah.
The reward is more rewarding.
For sure.
The outcome is more rewarding because you're putting in that time to something you're actually really passionate about, something that's going to get you, well, for us at least, more time together, more time with our family, being our own bosses.
Yeah.
So I think for anyone out there, I mean, work is going to be work. It's always going to be hard to some degree, but if you're putting it into something you really love, it's a better life.
For sure. And, it's just one of those things where, man, like I said, and I've said this so many times before, we're chasing something just a little bit different. And I don't think that it's right or wrong. It's just different. You guys might be chasing something else. But, man, like I said, that's enough of the motivation for today. I do want to kind of get into, so how was Christmas? What did you think of Christmas?
Yeah, so Christmas is the same to me every year. I look forward to it. I start decorating in November. I love the food, the atmosphere. And then Christmas Day rolls around and it's like everybody opens their presents and it's like, yay. And then you see all the wrapping paper and you're like, okay, now it's time to rage clean. So that's usually how it goes for me. And I'm ready to clean and put everything away on the 25th.
For sure. Yeah, no, 100%. And it was a great Christmas. It was a little bit weird because one of my sisters was actually not even here, which I did not like. And if she's listening, you better never do that again because I wasn't in a bad mood, but I definitely did not like that she wasn't there.
It felt different for sure, because we always go to your parents in the morning.
Yeah.
And we have breakfast, we open gifts, it's a whole thing, right? So it did feel like a little emptier.
It was.
Or last year.
It was not my favorite morning of Christmas at all by any means, but we also we were able to go and hang out with Sam and Nathan at their house, and we did a second Christmas over there, which was a blessing because this is the first Christmas that we've got to spend with them in I don't know how many years.
Yeah, my sister, my brother.
Yeah. Your sister was there, brother was there, nieces, nephews. Just an absolutely that was fun. That was great to be able to do that. So we're really happy about that. And then fast forward a few days, New Year's. Yeah. How was that?
Oh yeah, New Year's. We don't really. Piper's pretty scared of fireworks, or she doesn't like fireworks. So it's pretty much just chilling at the house. We go to your parents usually. We'll watch some of the countdown, eat finger foods. I feel like New Year's is a finger foods. I think
for us it is. I don't know if it is like that for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it is for
everybody else.
But that is,
we do finger foods lots of chicken wings or chicken wings, veggie trays, chips, dips, stuff like that. I don't know why. It's just always been like that for me.
Yeah.
Is that the way it is out there for you guys as well? Let me know in the comments or send me a message. Yeah. Let me know if it's like that. But
okay, it seems like that's party.
For sure,
party
something like party
foods, right? Yeah.
Even though we actually don't drink. We drank what was it, sparkling grape juice or something?
I love, yeah.
It was good. It was really good, and we hung out and we stayed up late, and I think we actually
real late.
Yeah, we stayed up to 3 a.m. that day, and we actually watched a movie, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, so after midnight, which the kids wanted to camp. We like to camp out in the living room, right?
Which just means sleep on the couch.
Yeah. So they wanted to camp. I'm like, no, we're not camping. I finally got the living room clean because your mom's like, you got to clean before New Year's Day. So I'm over there cleaning up, making sure before it turns midnight. So I'm like, no, we're not camping. I just cleaned, right? And then so midnight rolls around, and then 12:30 rolls around, and Poppy fell asleep. And then so I'm laying there on the couch. Everybody's they were watching Harry Potter or something.
Yeah, I was playing Marvel Rivals until about late. I was playing Marvel Rivals. If you guys do any of you guys that listen to this podcast play video games? If you play, do you play Marvel Rivals? I'm having a lot of fun with that game. Well, I haven't played once this week. I haven't played it all this week, but yeah, we haven't had time this week. But when I do have time, late at night, I'm down to stay up late to play a few games of Marvel Rivals for sure. But are any of you guys playing that game? Because it is really fun.
Yeah, from what I've seen of you playing or watching people play, it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fast-paced game. There's a lot going on, but it is a blast to play for sure.
I can't do games like that though.
There's a lot going on, but you just once you get into the game, you figure it out. So, we actually do need to go deep into the past of how I used to actually be really you guys think I'm into barbecue now. the same exact way I was into video games, and I was like deep into a sanctioning body kind of called Major League Gaming, and traveling all over the United States to, play in these tournaments or coach these tournaments, and was sponsored by Red Bull at one point. And it was like the team was sponsored by Red Bull at one point. It was just crazy. But anyway, so Christmas and New Year's were really good. And man, moving on to 2025, we told you guys last time, I believe, that we had that goal of posting some sort of content every single day. So I did want to talk about that a little bit, because I have had some people reach out, and I think that we didn't mean to, but I think we might have confused some people about what we meant by that. So when I say that we're going to post a piece of content every single day for 365 days, I mean some sort of video, whether that is this podcast you're listening to, because it also goes on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now. A long form video, which is one that we put out every single week. We put out a video every single week. And then in between, it's going to be short form videos. It could be a clip of this podcast. It could be a recipe in short form. It could be, we've been doing packaging videos. Sabrina's been doing restock videos. We're trying to get in front of you guys every single day. I think I said this last time, but if I didn't, I'll say it really quickly. We are not just a barbecue recipe channel. We now own a business that does media, that sells seasonings. So we do e-commerce, we do social media, we run a business. We do. And we're not a huge business. That's not what we're trying to say. But we just want to show you guys a little bit more about what we actually do on a daily basis. So there's going to be some sort of content out there every day that you guys can see from us. Now, the other thing is we started doing a little series, packaging orders every single day until Gulf Coast Smoke is our day job. Now, that does not mean that we're going to put out one of those videos every single day. And again, that's probably on me for not explaining it very well, so I wanted to explain it here. But we will be putting those out in chronological order. So like it'll be day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it won't necessarily be 6 days in a row. You know what I mean? So just wanted to clear that up real quickly, because I have had even some friends like, man, what happened to your packaging? I thought you were doing it every day. I'm like, well, we're going to put out a piece of content every day. It's not necessarily going to be that, because again, we do make recipes. We do run a business. We do package orders and all that stuff, but we don't want to be just a packaging company now that only puts out packaging videos. That's not really our goal here. But our goal is to get in front of you guys, let you guys know what we do, and hopefully you enjoy the content.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, we're packaging orders every day. That's not an issue. But yeah, I mean, there's days like a Saturday we did a filming day, right? So we couldn't break away from, a pork butt to come here and film that, right? Yeah. Or like sometimes on Sundays, right? Because, we can't take those to, the UPS or the post office or anything on a Sunday anyway. So it's like, okay, well, that stuff can wait until Monday, right? So we're not always going, or if we have a competition, we're not always going to be able to be here to package the order or something. Mm-hmm. So realistically, we can't put those out every single day. But yes, they are going to go out in chronological order. And I think try and take a guess at how long it's going to take until Gold Coast Smoke is, well, for you, your full-time job, because as the kids keep telling me, this is your full-time job.
Yeah. So basically, again, what we're trying to do is get content in front of you guys. And yes, our goal is for this to be my full-time job. So basically, every single day I wake up, I come to this office, or if we ever expand into another office, and we work on our business. We make videos. We recipes. We try and expand the line, which we're working on right now. That's all I'm going to say. I actually had a call with a co-packer today. You know exactly who that person is. It's not a dry ingredient. It's not a dry spice. That's all I'm going to say. But we're in talks with people about it, and we're trying to expand this line. Because just like with social media, we don't want to only put recipes in front of you guys, because we do more than that. We don't only want to have seasonings, because we make more than that, right? Like I've been personally making these recipes at the house. You can even ask Sabrina. I'm like a mad scientist over there. I'm like whisking. I'm like, I can't stop whisking or it's going to overflow. Like, but I have to do it this long. And, anyway, just we're trying to put out content in front of you guys. And if you guys, honestly, man, here's the thing, and I've always tried to tell you guys this. Do not be afraid to approach us and say, hey, man, I don't think I love the packaging videos. You know, I mean, not saying that we're going to stop it, but it might be something that we're like, okay, let's keep that in mind. Maybe these guys don't want to see that much, you know? And we understand that that's probably the case here. Like, I'm sure you guys don't subscribe to us to see packaging videos, but we're just trying to show you guys just a little bit more about what we do. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. And, you know, we're going to keep it up all year long. This weekend, we're actually going to a competition, so we'll be able to get some competition shorts, which is going to be good. I know you guys like some of the competition content, but just like with recipes, we do not like to put ourselves into a ball and only be one thing. We want to be able to bring you guys a multitude of content, so a multitude of types of content. Sorry, competition, backyard, packaging, business, motivation, a podcast, something entertaining. And you guys need to tell us, not need to, I'm like a boss. We want you guys to tell us what you want to hear, what you want to see, because these are the types of decisions that we can make based off of what our audience actually wants. Like, I know that you guys like competition content, and I know that you guys like Weber Smoky Mountain content. That's why we're going to try and do more this year. We're here for you guys. We do enjoy making videos, but we want you guys to want to watch those videos as well.
Yeah, and I think it's a kind of accountability for us because we do want to make sure we upload 365 days of this year, right? That's a goal for us. That's what we want to do. So it is accountability, and I think these are fun ways for us to make that happen instead of just like, oh man, we got to put something out. What are we going to do, right?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely going to be days like that where, man, we're busy. This is this. Like, let me repurpose some old content. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Not every single one of these videos is going to be brand new content, but it's a goal. It's forcing yourself to do something. And one of the things that I kind of feel, okay, so there's always that one little saying, like, don't tell anybody what you're doing until it's done, right? I agree with that to some extent, but I also like putting pressure on myself. You know, I literally was telling you this the other day. So I was talking to Sabrina about, hey, let's have a Christmas party for our family members. If you guys don't know, our family members are ambassadors. And I said, let's just put it out there right now that we're going to have a Christmas party. And you were like, well, I don't know. I'm like, man, I like putting pressure on myself. Like, if we say we're going to do it, we have to do it. We have to budget this, and we have to make it happen, because we can't be those people that say, hey, we're going to throw a Christmas party for you guys, and then out of nowhere we're like, oh, never mind, no, we're not. I like putting that pressure on myself. I like putting it on you. I'm sorry. I mean, I expect a lot out of you and me. It's just the way it is for us. And I know whether you say it or not, like, I know you expect a lot out of me too, and yourself. I know who you are. I know who I am. And that's just the way we are.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what do you guys do? Whenever you guys have a goal that you want to accomplish, how are you trying to make sure you accomplish that goal? Are you putting pressure on yourself? Are you setting these goals? Are you setting to the moon, stars in the sky goals? Like, are you setting huge ones that you almost know you can't reach, but if you go for it, man, you're still gonna, like, if you shoot for the moon, you're still gonna hit the stars type of thing, right?
Well, I think it's almost like when you go to a job interview, right? And they ask you, like, well, how much do you want to be paid? You're not going to tell them exactly what you want to get paid. You're going to go higher. Yeah, right?
For sure.
So that way,
it's a tactic, right?
Yeah, right. So maybe it's like, okay, here's a compromise, and the compromise is what you wanted, right? So I think that's with us, right? Like, it seems a little ridiculous, like, oh, post every single day for a whole year. Yeah. But for us, it's like, okay, well, we need to shoot.
There's people that post 2 to 3 times a day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just saying, right? This is not that unrealistic. I'm just saying, and it's Sabrina and I's way of recognizing that we could do more, and that's all that it is. But yeah, I mean, so it's just us doing it. I wanted to explain that a little bit. We are going to be putting out content every single day. Like, for example, today I did you posting day 5 of, packaging content and packaging orders. And that's what we put for the day. Tomorrow, we might use something that we've used in the past, a recipe we've done, or, just a little short, trim of our brisket, because we're going to a competition this weekend, and we'll talk about that in a second. But something every single day. Just be on the lookout. We want to post content you guys want to see, so please let us know what you want to see for sure.
Yeah, and so speaking of content, this was Tuesday, yesterday for us, but of course you're watching this on a Friday or listening on a Friday. So on Tuesday, we released our video for a hot and fast pulled pork. So let's talk about that method, because normally I think for when people think of pulled pork, that's a really long process, like a brisket. So, to me, a 5-hour brisket.
Pulled pork.
Have I been saying brisket this whole time?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, pulled pork. A 5-hour pulled pork is really fast.
Yeah. So I personally think that pork absolutely thrives under hot and fast circumstances. And what I mean by that is you are still, in my opinion, going to get that tenderness and you're going to get that texture with pork, even cooking it hot and fast. But the extra added benefit is getting, with a hot and fast cook, especially if you're cooking it on a Weber Smoky Mountain or a drum, you're getting that fat dripping on those coals, and it is just creating such amazing flavor. And we were able to finish that pork butt in 5.5 hours, and I promise you, you can even ask Sabrina. Sabrina loves pork butt. You cannot tell that was a hot and fast pulled pork, like in a bad way at all. You don't think like, oh, there's no texture, it's not soft enough. It has everything plus that added flavor like I just said. And I think that it just makes it even better. So the gist of it is you get your Weber Smoky Mountain or your drum to around 325 degrees. I know that's hot, but you almost create two zones in your Weber Smoky Mountain by lighting half of your coals pretty hot and then putting a water pan over the other side of the coals. So you have your hot zone and then you have your cool zone, right? And you're obviously cooking on an elevated grate, so the fire's below, but you're still getting heat that's coming up on the other side of that water pan. And it's going to be hotter than where it's kind of being blocked by that water pan. And I just rotate the grate every 30 minutes. Rotate it every 30 minutes, and then after an hour, I flip it and keep rotating for 2 hours, get a good color, and wrap it till it's done. And I've said this recently, and I'll say it again, and I'll go into it a little bit more. If you're spending even 5.5 hours, which is fast for a pork butt, but that's still a long time in the grand scheme of things. If you're spending 5.5 hours on a pork butt, if you're spending 12 hours on a brisket, if you're spending 12 hours on a pork butt, on a large cut of meat, you really have to watch it in the end because I do think you can make it an unsatisfying bite. So we talked about this a little bit. I do think that in the video, we talked about it a little bit. I do think that you do want things to be probe tender. I don't necessarily think that that means softened butter because if you felt softened butter, it is like Jell-O. It's basically like Jell-O. And I think that there are some things that you can take that far. I actually do not think that pork butt is one of those. And we've recently kind of figured that out when it comes to competition pork. And what we've been doing is we've been cooking our competition pork to around 207, 210. And before, I was not even looking at that number. I just wanted it to feel like Jell-O, like butter. And it could have been 213, even higher. And that's too far, in my opinion. The texture that you get from a pulled pork that's around that 207 mark is going to be better, in my opinion. You'll have a little bit of integrity to it. It's not going to be mushy. And then you can pull it apart and have strands of pork. And you can have really good, juicy, flavorful strands of pork. Especially when you go through and you slowly pick it apart, you're able to take away those big, fat pieces that are just not nice. They don't taste or feel good in your mouth. And you're just getting an overall really, really good bite of pork. Like that pork we made the other day, it was incredible. We took it over to Mom and Dad's. We had pulled pork sandwiches with Kimberly, Mark, Mom and Dad, and they were amazing. They really were amazing. And then, of course, use that au jus to your advantage. I've said this too, right? Like, man, use that au jus to your advantage to add back that natural pork flavor, along with some of the other stuff that we're using, right? But, man, use au jus to your advantage. Use a good sauce to your advantage. I love Killer Hogs vinegar sauce, and I actually got some heat for saying on one of our shorts for saying that Killer Hogs vinegar sauce is the best pork sauce in the game. And someone was like, "Man, that it's mid. It's not good." I disagree. I think Killer Hogs vinegar is the best for pork or for ribs in the game, and I mean that genuinely. I was not paid to say that. You know how much I've loved this sauce for years. Yeah. There was even a time when it was like I probably used it too much. You know what I mean? Like, no, go get Killer Hogs vinegar. Go get Killer Hogs vinegar. I loved it even before we were affiliated with them. Yeah. And you know this with every ounce of your heart. Yeah. I loved this sauce. That's why it's like it's just like the same thing with the Weber Smoky Mountain. I loved it before we were affiliated with Weber. That's not why I'm doing this. I love the Weber Smoky Mountain. I love Killer Hogs vinegar sauce. It's just really, really good stuff. And I do think that if you go watch that video, I do take a little bit more time, especially in the end when I'm pulling apart the pork and finishing it off. Man, there's so many good things you can do to pork or to brisket or whatever in the end of your cook. Take that time to your advantage. You spent so much time making a large piece of meat. Man, finish it strong.
Yeah, and, you know, the one thing I really loved about that video is now I understand there's probably a lot of people who watch that video and just think to themselves, just shred it. Like, what are you doing? Just shred it, right? But I think the important part, if you go and watch that, and that's because I did have to cut down a lot of it, or else it just would have been, most of the video would have been just breaking apart that pulled pork.
Yeah.
But the important part of that is it's really demonstrating the different muscles that make up a pork butt. And I think why that's important is because, as you said, if you take pork butt too far, it's going to be mushy. And that's because...
And we've done that.
Yeah. And that's because you have like the bacon in the tubes that are almost like the dark meat of the pork, right? And you're going to have some muscles that are almost like the white meat of that pork butt, right?
Yeah.
So if you take it to the, further end of the spectrum,
it's going to be dry.
Yeah, those white meat parts are going to be soft and tender, but then those dark meat parts are going to be way over it, and that's what's going to make it feel like mush.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you have to find that sweet spot, kind of like you said, like around the 207, 210 range.
Yeah.
Where, those dark meat pieces are going to be the perfect tenderness, and then you're going to get a little bit of integrity from those white meat pieces in there. And I think that's creates a much more pleasing mouthfeel when it comes to pulled pork, because you really don't want to bite into it and just be mush. And I think it's one of those things where if you've never felt it, the what you're talking about, the butter, like being feeling like butter.
Yeah.
Right? If you watch the video, if it feels like butter, the meat isn't going to move at all.
Yeah.
When you probe it, you're not going to see any movement from that meat.
Yeah.
But, obviously when it's not done and you probe it, you can see it tug, right? But you're going to have, like, if you're feeling it in person, you're going to see a little bit of that tug, but it's going to feel, you're not going to feel the resistance as much. So that's like if I could explain, right, the right feeling and the right look of it, that's, I guess, how I see it. It's going to be a slight, not even tug, but you're going to see a little bit of movement when you move that probe. But like our competition brisket, you stick the probe in, it's got no movement, and that's more of that butter feel.
Yeah, and that's what we want there, right? That's what we want. It's a different circumstance for sure. We're trying to go extremely tender so we can score as well as possible in a competition, and it's just something that we have to do, right? But it's one of those things that I will say this, and again, man, competition cooking has made me a better cook. It's allowed me to understand texture, and it's allowed me to really understand what people actually want. And that's one of the biggest things, and that's one of the most satisfying things that I've gotten from it, is that I now understand a little bit better what people actually want out of barbecue. And that's amazing, because I'm not only cooking for you and I'm cooking for 3 kids, or I'm cooking for friends that come over, and it is beneficial to understand what people want to eat. There's a lot of people out there that actually don't like juicy chicken. We've learned that. They do not like juicy chicken. They want it dry. They want it to be kind of like strands of chicken.
Yeah.
That's just what, and I'm telling you, if you're listening, you're probably thinking, or some of you guys are thinking, that's crazy. I have personally been told by many, many, many people, they do not like juicy chicken. It freaks them out. It makes them think like it's not cooked. Even if it's fully cooked, they just don't like it. They'd rather have a dry chicken breast than a juicy chicken breast sometimes. And it's understanding that. It's trying to get that texture, but with the right juice feel. It's there's just so much to it, but that's the fun part about barbecue. And also, like just cooking things differently than others. There's so many different ways to do it. Like I had somebody comment and said, "Why do I have to trim the pork butt?" You don't. That's just how I do it.
Well, and we just trimmed off like a couple pieces that were, around the edge that we knew would be a little undesirable when it came to the final product. So we just trimmed it off. So no, you don't have to trim your pork butt
at all.
That's just what we did. And if you watch what you saw us cut off is literally all we cut off.
Literally, that's all we cut off. And it was like nothing. So.
Yeah.
go check out that video. It came out on Tuesday, and I think it's a really, really good one. I think you guys will enjoy it for sure. But let us know what you guys think in the comments of that video and of this one, what you thought of our hot and fast pulled pork, because I think it was a very, very big success for sure, and I absolutely loved that pulled pork.
Yeah, and have we done on video the overnight pulled pork or the overnight pork butt?
I'm not sure.
Which an overnight on the pellet smoker is really easy to do, but I think the hot and fast is even easier. That one's much faster, and you can do it in a day. That's what we did. And
speaking of pellet smokers, I actually bought a new one. And again, this is not sponsored at all. We paid for it with our own money, but I bought a Gorilla Grills chimp, and I've used it one time, and I actually really like that little thing.
Yeah.
So Gorilla Grills, it's an awesome little pellet grill. And what I'm going to be using it for is like chicken thighs at competitions, and we'll be using it for like desserts at competitions and chicken or whatever we need to do. And I was thinking, man, if we can set glazes on it, that'd be easier, so we can go ahead and just turn off the big pit and do that. So there's a few things we have in mind for our nice new little Gorilla Grills chimp, and we're excited about it. So we're going to be running that thing at competitions. You guys can see a little bit of pellet grill action at the competition now, which I think is going to make for also good content. I had somebody the other day comment on a video saying like, wow, really hope you're not getting away from traditional barbecue and going to a pellet grill. Like, that's not cool. It's like, man, again, we're trying to make content for everybody. If you want to cook with a pellet grill at a competition, you absolutely can. It's within the rules. And if you feel like that gives you the best opportunity to win, do it.
Yeah, and let's be honest, when it comes to competition barbecue, it really is so far from backyard barbecue, because like backyard barbecue, you want a lot of that smoke, you want a lot of that bark, and when it comes to competition, even if you're doing it on an offset or a drum, the goal is like the complete opposite, to not get a lot of smoke and not get a lot of bark on it. You want it to be soft. You don't want the bark to be dark, right? And so you do want that smoke ring, but you don't want it to taste like overly smoky, right?
No, for sure.
So, you've said this before, barbecue is like a game, right? And the goal is to try and win it. It's not to make a good smoky, barky backyard brisket or backyard whatever, right?
Whatever wins is the best that day.
Right.
End of story.
So when it comes to competition, if that requires you using a pellet grill,
do it.
Do
whatever you guys need to.
Yeah, nobody in that judging room is going to be like, oh man, this one was a pellet grill, this one was an offset, right?
Yeah.
That they don't care, they don't know, and it's like that little, what's that background voice? Nobody's going to know. Who's going to know?
Yeah.
Like on TikTok. And no one's going to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, there's going to be some Gorilla Grills content coming soon to the channel at competitions. Like this weekend in Seguin, we're going to be cooking a half chicken with chicken wings, and we're going to throw it on the chimp.
Yeah.
The other day we made it at the house on the chimp because I was testing out the chimp, and we liked the way it tasted. So we're like, hey, let's run this. Yeah. Why not run it?
Yeah, and I've actually mentioned this to you before. I like the way the pellet grill cooks chicken specifically. I think it does a really nice job of cooking the skin really evenly. It does even color. You don't have to worry too much about like one side getting dark. I don't think it's... Now, obviously, you can still split the skin on whatever you're cooking, but I feel like that's like a little bit less likely.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't really tend to like, the pork and beef and brisket on the pellet smoker, but I think it does really, really well for chicken because it's like that oven atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like convection.
Right.
But yeah, so Sabrina is actually, she's not the biggest fan of like ribs or brisket or pork on a pellet grill, and she's made that pretty known. But yeah, she doesn't mind the chicken, so we're just going to run it, and we're going to see what happens this weekend, and we're going to have some fun. The other cool thing is we get to do a turkey breast this weekend as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll probably run that on the pellet grill. That way we don't have to light up the offset on Friday night.
Yeah.
And or Friday, I guess that would be like afternoon, evening. And again, we're just going to have some fun, and we're going to just go out there this weekend. Speaking of which, we'll be in Seguin, Texas at the CBA World Championship, which is a very large event. I believe we're probably looking at around 130 to 150 teams. It's going to be a fun one. Last year we did go, and we straight up got our booties kicked.
Yeah.
Our goal is to not get our booties kicked this year and have some fun. It's been a little bit since we've competed. We actually ran a test competition at our house last weekend. We felt like it was successful, and we had some friends over, and we GC'd that event. We GC'd the backyard. Out of one team, we won. But, we're excited to go. Kinda. The weather's going to be horrible.
Yeah. Well, that's because last year at CBA World Champs, it was freezing cold.
It's going to be even worse this year.
Yeah, Penelope was like, man, I really want it to be cold again, but not as cold as last time. And then
now it's not going to, it's going to be colder.
Came in.
Yeah. But we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to just try and have some fun. And we'll see what the results are. We're going to film it as best we can, and I'm sure it'll be a little bit hectic, but we're going to film it as best we can, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we got one of those like little fire pit. What are they called?
Smokeless fire pits?
Yeah. And
it's almost like a solo stove, but it's not a solo stove.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, it's not the name brand solo stove. I was definitely not going to drop whatever $500 or whatever it was. So
is that how much they normally?
Yeah, those are expensive, but the one I got was around a couple hundred or whatever. But yeah, so we'll see if we take that with us. And anyway.
Yeah, and so anyway, you actually got to go golfing for the first time in a long time the other day, which I know you're a Blue Water Golf.
Blue Water Drive.
Blue Water Drive.
My own wife, really.
Well, hey, it's not my fault. It's been that long since you posted content for it.
It has been. Yeah, so I finally got to play golf on Saturday. Was it Saturday?
I think.
It was
Sunday.
Sunday. It was Sunday. Sunday because we went to brunch after. I finally got to play golf on Sunday for the first time in months. I hadn't even touched my sticks, which is insane because I bought the brand new Titleist GT Woods, and I should be playing, but I haven't. And I went out there, and man, I straight up started off horribly. I bogeyed 5 straight holes, and it was just tough. I was just tough. I was like, I couldn't get it off the tee. I couldn't chip. I wasn't putting very well. And so I was 5 over after 5, and I ended up shooting a 79, which is 7 over. So for the rest of the round, I was 2 over, and I had a couple of birdies. I actually chipped in on 9 for a birdie. And, 79 is not great, but I'm not upset at it, especially because I haven't been playing. I was glad to be in the 70s still, which is where I'm typically playing. I like to be closer to mid or low 70s, but hey, I'll get it. I broke 80, and that was after not playing for over 2 months. It's been quite a while, but I am going to get back into. I know I've got a million things that I'm going to do in life, but I'm going to get back into it only because it really is so nice being out there. And then also it just gets me outside and being active. And that's so important. And then, Alonso wants to play, and we need to take, I need to take Alonso out there, and then Penny and Piper, I'm sure, will follow suit as well. And just something to get the kids outside doing something. They do go outside and play all the time, and we're outside barbecuing all the time. And, the girls are in ballet and dance and hip hop, and Alonso plays t-ball and stuff. But adding another sport is never a bad idea. So, man, we're just gonna try and play some more golf and have some fun with Blue Water Drive, which I grew up on that street, and it kind of goes with the theme of golf. So hopefully we'll be posting more golf content. I was happy with some of my shots. I was really upset with some of my shots, but overall I was just really, really happy to be out there playing.
Well, the beauty of golf is it really is a year-round sport. But what would you say is your favorite?
Here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah.
But what would you say is your favorite season to play?
It's probably got to be around like the October, September, area.
When it's like starting to get cool, not as hot.
Yeah, when it's starting to, because summer's brutal. Yeah. You go out there and you just get absolutely destroyed when you go play. And then of course right now, winter's not horrible, but like right now I would not go golf today. I just wouldn't do it because the wind chill makes it feel like it's like 25 degrees, and that's what makes it really horrible. It's the wind chill.
Yeah, winter in Texas is it's the weirdest thing. Like literally before the day before the cold front came, it was like 80-something degrees. Like it was hot.
I was outside.
That was the day you golfed, yeah.
I was outside on Christmas Day in shorts and a shirt making burgers with Nathan. Yeah. And like that blows my mind.
Right.
But that would probably be my my most favorite time to golf. And I'm trying to stay up to par with all the golf content out there. I still like to, like Grant Horvat played with Tiger Woods, which is, I haven't watched the video yet. It came out like 2 days ago, but I haven't watched the video, so I don't know if they actually played. But he made a video of Tiger Woods, which is wild.
Yeah, it's insane.
And he's probably the one I like to watch the most, him and Bryson DeChambeau. Other than that, I don't really watch golf content, but the guys were even talking about it on Sunday, like, man, we got to get the channel going back up. And man, I'm going to be honest with you, I would actually really welcome that because it's something fun to do. I don't have to be the controlling member or anything. Like, yes, we made the name or I made the name, but it's really not that serious when it comes to this. Even if it turned into something big, I would love to have, 3 other guys or 4 other guys or whatever to actually like split costs with. And if we did want to do, some shirts or something like that, we could kind of do it together and just have different people in on it. And I think it would be a lot of fun. Of course, I would be willing to edit it because I kind of want to get my editing skills back a little bit. The other day you told me, you were like, can you sync the clips? And I'm like, I don't even remember how, which is not, it's funny, but it's not good, right? I do need to,
no,
I do need to stay up. No, I don't think that's good. I need to stay up to par with how to do these things because, what if you can't edit one day? What if you know what I mean? Like we have to get this content out. So I think it's really important for me to stay up to speed with these things. And yeah, you might be seeing the Golf Channel kind of revive a little bit and maybe with some new faces. And if you guys want to watch, great. If you guys don't, well, that's great too. We're going to do what we do. And hopefully, like I said, I can get some buddies to start this journey with me.
Yeah, for sure. I think the way that golf content in general is nowadays, it really is a group type atmosphere, which I think is something, it's different. Not that barbecue isn't a group thing, but like, you're not going to make recipe videos with like a whole bunch of
you can collaborate with people, but this is different. And again, we're looking to hopefully do something really soon with the boys, have some fun. We're not the best golfers by any means, so you might not see the most high quality content ever, but we'll do what we can and we'll try and have some fun with it. So that's really all there is about that. And
almost Tiger Woods, unless you want to come film some barbecue.
Tiger, if you want to film some barbecue,
you want to be on the podcast.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast right here. I'll cook you some barbecue and then I'll go play you in golf. And
I'll let you win.
Yeah, I'll let you win if I'm pretty sure I'm better than Tiger, right? And and Grant and these guys. But we'll see how things go. But yeah, I think a great podcast today, a great conversation that we had, and again, anything you guys want to talk about, and next episode we'll talk really in depth about our competition we just had. We'll talk intimately about our meets and how they went for us, and then of course we'll talk about scoring and how all those things went for us. But yeah, if you guys are interested in hearing any specific topics, you just let us know in the comments, and we'll do our absolute best to abide. We'll start asking some questions again really soon so we can get back into the swing of having you guys questions on the podcast as well. So, yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
No, good luck to everybody driving to Seguin, the World Championships, or whatever barbecue competition you're going to. Yeah, Zach is going to Robstown this weekend, so good luck to Zach going to Robstown. And safe travels to everybody. We hope to see you there. Yeah, safe travels to everybody, and good luck. And was that it? Yep, that's it. Well, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or anything, man, be sure to share this with a friend if they like barbecue or any of the content we're putting out and help us grow our family. We really appreciate you guys tuning into this one. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.